So did Ward Churchill's colleagues in academia really not know about his radical views as printed in newspapers and books? Or did they know and accept and applaud them? Was there anything within the academic community that suggested to you people had read it and did not have a problem with it?
Yeah. Post-tenure reviews, peer reviews, all manner of things that would suggest precisely that.
So
So it's situational, okay? It becomes fashionable to take a particular position, and then you invent the
No, I
evidence to
understand
make
that.
it seem plausible.
And I think we've laid out for the viewers that, you know, it didn't become a thing until you got asked to speak at Hamilton College, and it hit the national media, and then it became a thing. But for 4 years, it was not an issue, Dinesh. And as far as we can tell, that is not because the academic community had no idea about how Ward Churchill thinks or what he was teaching his students.
There are two remarkable things here. One is, and I think, Ward, we are finally in a point of agreement, is that a lot of the radicals who started out wanting to bomb things and blow up things decided that there's a more effective way to promote radicalism, and that is to become teachers. You saw this with Bill Ayers. We see this with Ward Churchill.
Bernadine Dorn, who was on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list, who then went on to teach at Northwestern Law School.
And these are people who can have receptions for a young Obama. They're people who can go to the faculty cocktail party. They can be at the Democratic convention, and they fit in. Nobody thinks it's odd to have them there. Now, Ward's right. Once it all blows up, suddenly he becomes inconvenient. He's persona non grata. But he's right to feel a little bit outraged, because before that,
they scapegoated him.
The same people were like, hey, Ward, you know, we kind of agree with you. We may not blow up the Pentagon, but your premise that America is the bad guy, your premise that America is the evil empire, not only do we kind of agree with it, we teach that stuff ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I would also point out to you, it's not just former radicals from the left. You got an individual who is eligible for prosecution as war crimes, a full professor of law at University of California. And I wouldn't want to mention John Yu's name, but we're talking about that.
He's the one who wrote the memo justifying the use of
well, he wasn't alone. The other
interrogation
one,
techniques.
Jay Bybee is a federal judge at this point, and then you've got a couple that are one's at Harvard Law School.
Are you contending that American academia does not lean left? You're not contending that, are you?
In my experience, it would lean rather further to the right.
Really?
Really.
How do you describe yourself politically?
The way I've always described myself is as an indigenist, okay, which is that I take the circumstances, situation of indigenous peoples as first priority. And probably the closest approximation that you come up with in the general understanding of these neat little political labels to get affixed on people. It would probably be anarchist.
Dinesh, you know, in closing, we've had a couple of these interviews now. You know, we sat with Bill Ayers and we sat with Ward Churchill. And my question to you is whether you agree with the professor that these are unusual examples within academia, or whether they are the norm in these academic circles and speak accurately about what the students who are going to these colleges are hearing from their professors, not just about the world, but about the country in which we live.
See, I think we've seen a real shift in American politics, and most people are not even aware of it. I mean, if you go back, for example, to the Truman administration or FDR, the general agreement was it didn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. America's a good country. America is a force for good in the world. The free market system creates wealth, even if you then choose to redistribute it. So there was a pro-American consensus. And what we see now, and we see repeatedly, is that consensus is broken down. And a left has emerged out of the 60s and out of the Vietnam War that sees America in bitter, hostile terms. They see America as the enemy. They actually believe we're the evil empire. And so it is conceivable that they look at their job, their moral job, is one of restraining, curtailing, and undermining America. And they're doing that in America. Now, this left has become extremely powerful in the media, in academia, in Hollywood, and it's now moving into the elementary and secondary schools. And the conservatives are all focused on the election. Who's going to take the Senate? Who's going to win in 2016? Not realizing that the culture, the high ground of the culture is being occupied very powerfully by the left. And it's a left in which Ward Churchill is not the mainstream, but he's a perfectly respectable part of it, and has been for 30 years. That's why guys like Ward and Bill Ayers are surprised when they become controversial figures, because they've been inhabiting an academic environment very comfortably, and it's not until the bee gets out of the bottle and people go, whoa, then they go, whoa. We can't believe that people are shocked because we've been saying all this for a long time and nobody raised an objection.
Dinesh, thank you very much. Professor Churchill, thank you too. And that was it. What do you think? We've gotten so much feedback from you, our viewers, this week over that extremely popular interview that we had. It was very well received, not because people love Ward Churchill, but because they wanted to hear the exchange and the challenge of these controversial views, which have sat out there largely untouched for a long, long time. If you missed any of our interview with Ward Churchill, if you want to watch it again, if you want to share it with your friends, you can find all 3 parts at facebook.com/TheKellyFile. Let us know what you think. And I can't end the segment without giving him credit for coming in here and standing up and taking the questions. For that, I appreciate his being here. And coming up, is Team Clinton unleashing on Barack Obama? Wait until you hear this. And up next, remember Mariam Ibrahim, the young Sudanese mother sentenced to death for refusing to renounce her Christian faith. She gave birth to her child chained to a floor in the prison. She just sat down with yours truly for her first interview anywhere since her release. It is a Kelly File exclusive, and wait until you see her stunning transformation. But why not just say what they wanted to hear to save your life?